he does a freezer. He's like, oh yeah, I used 30% of my power last time. Now I'm using 50%.
Yeah.
Like, what? What are you going on about, man?
And he does it again in episode 7.
Yeah,
70%.
yeah.
He's a 70%,
He's a
yeah.
70%. This guy,
That's
bro.
so dumb. It's so dumb.
Hi, I'm Eugene. I'm joined by the usual suspects, Phil and Lewis. Yes, we've been away for a few weeks, but we're back. And this week we're talking about Tokyo Avengers. We're going to do a quick recap for you for episodes 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll go straight into episode 7, which is the one we're going to review this week. So yeah, obviously when we left off, Mitsuya was saying that he's going to go talk to Taju. We were all gassed by how like well Taju had been like adapted from the manga to the anime, the voice actor, the animation, all of it was dope in it. So yeah, so obviously we come to episode 4, which Suya's like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to him, and then obviously he's got Takemichi and Chifuyu with him, and then yeah, so he goes to meet Taju. There's a bit of back and forth in the meeting place. We get to see his two, Coco and Inapi. Them two would crack me up, but yeah, we'll come to that later. But then you know what's mad? So obviously, yeah, I know we've read the manga, but for those who haven't read the manga, we find out that Hakai's sister Yuzu is being like held, I guess, hostage by Taju, and so all of this is Mitsuya is coming to like, he's like, oh, Hakai can join you, the Black Dragons, but you got to free your sister. That's mad though. Do you know that's wild?
Yeah, she's been used as a bargaining chip. It's mad.
Yeah,
wild. And then obviously like it makes you think like, what's going on in that family? How come no one's stepping into like? It must be that deep if you've got to get some like delinquents to like have to like. But you know what I mean?
I hear you. It's wild. It's wild.
Where's the family? No one's backing. No one's stepping in, and you got this. And then obviously, Taju agrees and says Hakai can join. It's interesting how like the storytelling is for this episode, where it's just like you think it's going to be all like just gangster beef and just like the delinquents, but the fact that it's such a harrowing family element to it, and it still ties into like the overall arc of Takemichi trying to save Hina is actually quite mad.
Yeah, that's what in my opinion, that element makes this whole Christmas showdown arc what it is. Like that whole family element of the relationship between the brothers and the sister, how it all intertwines just into like the delinquent gangster lifestyle. It makes this whole arc what it is.
It feels like it's more about that than the mission of trying to fix the future. It's like this needs to be dealt with. This family issue needs to be dealt with.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Exactly. If this doesn't happen, then the future's messed up.
Well, then Hakai's gonna kill Taju, and then it's gonna lead to him being the future self, which is what obviously Takemichi's trying to avoid. And what was a great scene though when Hakai says, "I'm going to kill my brother." And you know what? I was waiting for that scene because the way the artwork was done in the manga was so sick. Like you had all like the shadows on his face, and I thought the anime did it good.
Did it justice, yeah.
It did it justice, yeah. It looked really sick, and the animation has stepped up quite a bit. Obviously, when we go into the next episodes, I'll talk more about that. But yeah, I think episode 4 was a good episode. There wasn't any filler in it. I mean, it's just one thing I will say, which is interesting. Yeah, they're adapting like 4 chapters per episode now. It's actually quite mad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I was doing a count, and I was like, because this covers chapter 84 to 87, and I'm just like 4 episodes in, and they're doing it word for word. They're not even they're not really skipping much. And like even episode 5 does 88 to 91, and it adds like one or two filler scenes, like flashback scenes, but adapts it pretty well. So yeah, I think so. I mean, what do you think about episode 5? It was all right. I mean, he breaks up with his girl, innit?
It was like what, like I hear you, right? The way like I gave it like a subtitle. I just called it Overbooks because Takemichi was just saying, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna meet you. Man couldn't do none of them things really that he wanted to. So
do you not think though, Hina's dad was funny when they sort of just
Man came in and is like, you know what, I don't want you to be dealing with my daughter.
He's like, Is I've seen you about, you're one of those ends boys. Nah,
Yeah.
you're not dating my daughter, man.
Not dating my daughter. Can you
Yeah.
please leave her alone? One of them, man.
And then we skipped to episode 6. But so episode 6, well, obviously that was done. It was interesting because that was done I guess frame for frame, but they did add a flashback. So at the start when Chifuyu gives Takemichi his that rope they wear, the white
Yeah,
band.
yeah, yeah.
When they go, yeah.
Of,
So that's
was
obviously
it again?
Baji's one,
Baji, yeah, it's Baji's
it's
one.
Baji's one, yeah. But that flashback's not in the the flashback when Baji beats up Chifuyu and says, "Oh, don't act on yourself." The
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
generic, showing everything they do. But
yeah.
that scene's not in the manga, and I was just like, didn't really need to be an anime either, to be honest. It just didn't add anything.
No.
I hear you.
Bit of time.
I just think them ribbons are just dead, man.
They're dumb.
They're
They
so
don't
dumb.
see that.
Why would you want to fight with a ribbon on your back?
Exactly.
It
gets in the way. It gets in the way.
They've got some meaning, haven't they? They've got some I'm sure like
put a headband on.
Yeah, exactly.
Got some meaning that we're just
kind of shit in the back. You're calm,
bro.
But
nah.
What do you think about Kisaki and Hanwha? Them two. They're dickheads. Honestly, man.
What? Listen, when I say you, Kisaki played them man like a fiddle.
Yeah.
Just gave them all the information that they wanted to hear and blah blah blah. Put them in a position that he wanted them to be in. He set up everything. Like I rate him, but I hate him at the same time.
I know.
I'm stuck.
And I think that's what I like about this arc as well, because obviously you're getting a lot of the Shiba family, the conflict, but we're seeing a lot more of other characters. Like obviously we're seeing a bit more of like Kisaki, and seeing a bit more Hanwha, seeing what makes them tick, and we're seeing a lot more of the other captains, because before now we hadn't seen Mucho and Happy. We hadn't seen much from them, and then they're coming into the dinner scene where they're like, oh no, you can't cause beef, and then the scene before that, so we're seeing a lot more characters get involved. So I think that's all been well done. So yeah, episode 5 was pretty good. Episode 6 was pretty good as well. But you know what cracks me up though is Taju. So obviously episode 6 when they finally get to the
church.
Yeah. And then Taju punches Takemichi. Then he does a freezer. He's like, oh yeah, I used 30% of my power last time. Now I'm using 50%.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going on about, man?
And he does it again in episode 7.
70%. He's a 70%.
He's a 70%. This guy,
that's
bro.
so dumb. It's so dumb. Who says that?
Exactly.
Bro, who says that? And the fact that, but one thing I will say though, so obviously in the manga, yeah, you see Taju obviously punch Takemichi and stuff, and punch Yuzu as well. But what I will say, the anime makes it 10 times worse. The impact when he punches his sister, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, she went flying.
And plus he's so they've drawn him so big in comparison to everybody else. Like it just looks like
picking up benches.
It looks like Broly. Looks like Broly versus Goten, fam. Come on, it's mad.
But do you not respect Takemichi more though for taking those punches, bro? Because I don't know what guy
my man's chin is made of steel. His chin is made of steel. He won't go down for nothing.
He's like a rag doll.
Yeah.
And sorry, Lewis, you're gonna say something?
No, I was saying that Taju, that well, we're getting to 7, but when he's fighting, I don't know why they make him look wide.
Yeah,
he looks like Jack from Tekken. I don't know why. It just looks like a bit too like.
I do wonder about that though, because you want thing about Tokyo Rangers though, in the manga, they don't really do they do fight, but what I've noticed they don't really like draw the fights out. You get like one punch and then it'll cut to something else. But I feel like, but in anime, they've made an effort to kind of animate the fights. So maybe
that makes sense though. That makes sense because we want to see the fight. We don't want to see someone get banged in the face, then it's done.
No, of course. So going off from what obviously Luke was saying about the way like they've drawn Taju, they've obviously got the original material to go off. So they probably used material from other places. So who knows? They could have got inspiration from from Broly or other characters to kind of help design their fights because they've got no original fights. Because even in let's go on to episode 7 now when Mitsuya finally gets involved. Episode 6, sorry. Yuzu gets the knife, all of that is actually bad. And then when he takes his shirt off and it's like Yeah,
That
he stabbed me.
stabbed me in the side. Yeah.
I mean, let's say now we haven't read the manga yet and watching this first time. Like honestly, what are you guys thinking? This is just some mental arc,
You
man.
know what?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be loving it because
Mm,
there's so much going on. I'm like, oh, wait,
mm,
so the sister stabbed the brother, and the brother
mm.
done the reason why the brother is even trying to like becomes the person he becomes in the future is because he wanted to save the sister, and it's I think it's great.
And you know what? When she says Kisaki told me, yeah, and Takemichi's like, oh my god. So basically, I came to stop this, but because I worked with Kisaki, I've basically made this happen now. So I've
Exactly.
basically
Yeah.
making a future I try to prevent. So I think all of those kind of storytelling, it's just sick, man. It's just like it's sick. But so episode 7 now, the episode we're actually gonna talk
Review.
about, which covers chapters 96 through to 99. Yeah, a lot of chapters. One of the main things I'm gonna say about this chapter, yeah, that I really loved, yeah, was the fight scene between Mitsuya and Taju.
Yeah, that was great.
In the manga, we only got literally one. That fight was one panel, not even a page, one panel. And this we got a full sequence, and it just shows like Taju's ridiculous, man.
Was it really?
Yeah,
was it really a fight though? It was really just like
A beatdown.
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
beatdown. Mitsuya was trying to punch on him, right? Okay, cool. Like got a little bit bangs in, but then when Taju when he wanted to actually hurt him, sent man flying bare times, and then just come
Bro,
back. He'll just come back again. Just keep getting weighed in. Come on, bro. It's not a
but then,
fight.
yeah. So now, does this not make you think? Oh, when Mikey does get involved, what the hell is Mikey then? If look how so Mitsuya, obviously we know Mitsuya's like he's one of the strongest guys
Yeah.
in the show, and we
Yeah.
know Taju's strong as well. But this difference of power between them two is way too much.
Mhm.
Like when
Yeah.
Mitsuya punches him, it's just like he's punching enough.
A brick wall, mate.
Taju cracks me, and then when Takemichi steps up, says, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna take him out," and he gets banged. I'm like, I'm actually just saying to myself, Takemichi, you know what? Like in the manga, you're like, all right, cool in it. But in the anime, I'm like, no, look, you need to just don't.
Yeah, no one's got a chance.
In it, you just stop, bro.
No
And
one has a chance.
he's picking up the church chair. Do you know how heavy those chairs are? Those wooden.
Bro.
He's picking them in front of his sister.
And he's picking up from the end as well. He's not picking up from the
Yes.
he's picking up from the end.
Ridiculous.
My man is too strong.
And also when Inapi, but you know what? So Inapi and Coco, yeah, I think they've made him a bit too strong. So when Inapi hits Mitsuya with the metal pole, that was
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that I felt that.
you see his head, the way his head was. But I think they made Coco too strong though. I don't believe Coco's that strong, man. Like Takemichi can't be that weak. I think they've gassed him too much.
Maybe,
I don't know, man.
maybe, but I'm kind of leaning towards is where it needs to be.
Mm.
So yeah.
I like the fact that they got half time, there's a little, just a bit of a timeout and they
Yeah, like,
regathered themselves.
For them.
After that poll, bro, it's just like,
It was mad. It was mad.
I'm still here, guys. Don't worry. Because
What's interesting with them with those two characters though, right? Is how like, well, not it was it Coco that sold them out for 100K?
Yeah, but
it's mad. It's like okay, so you really like you see like they'll give information about like leadership.
But he did it on purpose.
Obviously, he did it on purpose. But when you're watching it, you're like, yo, this guy's a snake.
In it, so he comes,
yeah.
the man. He's like, "Oh, you're snaking. Take him away." And he's like, "Oh, I'll tell you the information you want to know for 100." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, no, that was good.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, this episode, I do think the animation's getting better, and I think just seeing the fights animated was it was good to see the actual fight because obviously in the manga, yeah, you saw Mitsuya, I don't know, you see him get punched once and then goes to Hakai screaming, and you're like, oh well, what's actually happening? Why is he screaming? And now, we've seen how bad that fight was. So it just I think obviously as a character, yeah, Taju isn't a character, obviously to be respected because he's beat up his sister. But in terms of Taju as a gangster and a fighter, he is I think up there as one of the top in the manga, you know what I mean? In the show. So
just strength alone.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But what are you guys expecting from next week then? What are you hoping to see?
More of the same.
Mm.
More of, not necessarily fight wise, but where it's at in terms of intensity of things going on at the moment. Yeah, because obviously we're in the middle of a fight, but like they might take a little break from that fight and go see what's going on with Tokyo
Mikey.
Manji gang and Mikey and that kind of stuff. But I want it to still maintain that same level of like intensity and yeah, you want to basically saying that I want to watch more of it. That's it.
What about you, Lewis?
Yeah, I want more twists and turns, you know, because that's what it's all been right now. It's like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. So yeah, because I'm not necessarily a massive fan of the fighting, really. I don't know. I just don't like the way it's been animated.
You don't like the way the fight's been animated?
Okay.
Not really. I like obviously the fact that we're able to see the fight from reading the manga. I don't know. It's just not gripping me. I think it's just yeah, nah. But yeah, I think
No,
it
you know
needs
what?
work, man.
It wasn't like I think that does come from having no original content to work from. You know what I mean? And like
I feel like the fighting from season 1 was much better.
Yeah, yeah.
There wasn't really much like one-on-one fights like this, if you know what I mean. There was a lot of group fights, but there wasn't like a one-on-one proper brawl. And I feel like you know what it is. I'll be very honest. I found the fight like I did enjoy it, but what I did find a bit strange is because there was rarely any one-on-one fights in the manga. There were loads. Sorry, there was loads, but there was never any ones that were actually proper. You know what I mean? Like drawn. It would just be like they'll stare at each other. The fight starts, and then it'll cut to another scene. Then they'll come to the scene with the fight. I don't know, someone's been stabbed or whatever's happened, and it's just like, well, where's the fight happening? Or someone gets punched and they flip 3 times, and then that will happen. But yeah, it was interesting. Like, you know what? Like, I think that the few scenes that I want to see the actual fights in. I want to see them add their own spin to the fight. So there's the scene coming up with Draken and the Black Dragon gang. I want to see if they're actually going to do that, animate that fight. That'd be quite interesting. But it was cool to see Coco actually use some moves because he's just the money guy. And I don't know how he's strong, but so it was good to see him see some. I mean, it's Takemichi. Like Takemichi's like, well.
But then again, guys, I feel like we're maybe missing something with the fight stuff, right? This is of course it's gangster stuff, and is teenagers trying to be delinquents, right? But they haven't said that any of these characters, or well, not any of them, they haven't specified that the majority of these characters have like fighting backgrounds, right? Except Mikey, right? So there's no one that has like actual like no one's really got hands like that, like trained hands, right? So for them to animate like a sick choreographed fight, it kind of wouldn't make sense unless it's just really a brawl in it. So you're just gonna see fists swinging and maybe a kick here and there. But then when you look at Mikey's got his kick because he's been training in martial arts for a bit. So I feel like if we look at it from that perspective, maybe Lewis, you might be being a bit too harsh. I'm not gonna lie, yeah. But when you look at it from that perspective, it's like okay, they're doing what it would be like, because when you think when we were what 16 17 15, who really could fight though? No one. You're just throwing hands.
Tachi was blood. Tachi, he did that like looks like an MMA fighter. The way he's
but then with Taju though, but with Taju it's only with specific characters. With Taju actually works as like a bouncer for people. Remember we heard that about his character. He works as a bouncer or like muscle for people. So it will make sense that he has some kind of fighting background. But like Takemichi and Mitsuya and them, man, and Draken, what do they really do? They're the school kids that wanna throw hands.
I know, man. Takemichi especially, man. The licks that he takes. Sometimes I think to myself, like obviously Takemichi wants to save people, but it makes sense, that like the original Takemichi when he just left town and just didn't come back.
Yeah.
It makes sense, like the amount of violence that is happening in this manga. It makes sense that the original timer is like, nah, I want nothing to do with any of this. But no. Like I think it's going in a good place. I am quite surprised that they managed to fit 4 chapters per episode. I feel like it's going to end soon. What are we on episode 7?
That's what I'm thinking. It feels very quick.
Very quick. So we should be done by I think 2 episodes. Like done.
I think so.
Okay.
Just coming from the fight and knowing the manga, I'm like they're gonna just long it out, add bits, or
I don't know. Well, they might have added some Christmas bits or something in. There's some bits at the end, isn't there, where they have some family. Well, no spoilers, but yeah, I don't know, because it's not. We're not even at the because all the new anime starts in April, or like the new like Demon Slayer and or the new series. So
Yeah.
I was thinking like, what are they going to do to fill that time? Are they just going to end it?
Maybe.
Because it's what it just seems mad that they've just basically how quick it's
Maybe.
going.
Or we
Yeah.
might get some new stuff that they just fill in. You never know.
Well,
I hope not. I hope not. But
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Hope not.
You know what would be sick though? You know, like they've got those the guidance, like the extra stories. If they decide to animate some of those to fill the time up, like some of the prequels, or do like a Baji. Oh, you know, Baji's got that spin-off manga about Baji and Chifuyu before how they met. They animated that because obviously
that would make sense. That would make sense in terms of the timeline right now. What's going on with the story? So.
Exactly, because obviously, yeah. And Mikey, we haven't even discussed Mikey. Mikey's gone, bro. I think it's hit him like.
Yeah, that's what Thingy said earlier as well. Kisaki, he's like, Mikey's not all the way there no more, basically.
Yeah. So when he said to Mitsuya, Dongo disappearing on me, I'm like, bruv, disband the gang then, innit? If you don't know how to die, stop.
Yeah.
School, you know what I mean? Go to school.
Mikey, there's a lot going on in Mikey's head, so
yeah. Brother's dead, mom's dead, dad's dead, Baji's best friend's dead.
Yep. Yeah. he's fucked.
Bro, at that age as well, man.
Yeah, at that age, he's finished, bro.
I know. And then he almost saw Draken die. And then you got this guy, Takemichi, just coming in and like things are getting when I got Kisaki, yeah.
He needs to go see a therapist.
No, I think so too. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see what they do because I do think they are like it will be finished in 2 to 3 weeks. And then it's good to see what they're gonna do because if it just ends and I'm just like, cause I've not actually checked the episode listing because you can check that on the internet, can't you? I'm not actually sure how many episodes they've. Yeah, because I know Vinland Saga's like what 24 episodes, so we've got a long, a long time with that. But yeah, I just basically just find it strange how they just like because you know like when they started at the first episode where they had a lot of filler in it. And then it was like, oh my god, this is probably going to be the pace of the entire thing. Well, it's just they just
ramped it up. It's like they listened to you.
Like, they watched the podcast. They're like, who's this guy?
He's random done cussing us.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna basically give them 4 chapters per episode. I'm like, I can't believe that, man. It's absolutely
that's
mad.
wild.
But what's your final scores, guys, for this week?
I'll give it 8. I say 8. Yeah, I say 8.
Yeah.
Animation was all right. I like where the story's at. Yeah, 8. What do you say?
Yeah, I'll give it 8 as well. As much as I'm not a massive fan of the fighting animation, but I think it's got enough to keep me going. It's exciting, so
cool.
I'll give it 8.5 only because I felt like they animated some of those scenes, like the punch scenes, and they did them really well. And like with the fight scene, for example, I know Lewis, you said he didn't like it, but there's been so many examples where some of these things have been done like look really, really worse. And I feel like for having no original material to go off in terms of like the actual fight, I think they've done a good job. And I think they're just showing Taju's like dominance and just his how much of a strong guy he is through this fight. And I think it's a bit the arc just feels a bit more impactful than the manga in just terms of the fight scenes. I feel like they've done a good job in that respect. And so yeah, 8.5 for this episode.
I just think with the fighting, I just feel like the perspective of Taju just doesn't seem right to me. I don't know why. He looks like the Hulk. I know he is big, but he looks like in the church. He looks like he's as big as the church at some point. So I'm like, but I'm no artist, so I'm just coming from.
But then again, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen Baki, but in the Baki anime, right?
That's ridiculous,
I'm just saying. In the Baki anime, right? They use perspective just to show power at a certain time, like just to show how like strong someone is and how dominant they are.
No, but I feel like with Tachi, yeah, every time you're seeing it, it's like a low angle shot, like looking up all the time. But I feel like, like when Mitsuya goes towards him, yeah, even when I'm watching the fight, I did think that the size difference was a bit unrealistic. Mitsuya just looks so small. They all look like dwarves compared to Taju. He's like some giant. And his arms are like, I don't know, man. I think
that's just that's what took me out of it. It just took me out because maybe I'm trying to be a realist. I don't know, but
well, I mean, they're probably over.
I didn't think it was rubbish. I just giving you my opinion. Yeah.
I hear you. So while you guys were talking, I was looking for the episode listing. So apparently, there's going to be 13 episodes.
13.
Oh, really?
We're on 7.
Yeah.
But it's almost done though. I don't know how they're gonna. I think they must have 2 or 3
flashbacks.
Well, no. So he goes. He's gonna go back to the future, isn't he? So they're gonna probably long that out with.
I have to, yeah.
Because
13 episodes. Episode 13 comes out on April 2nd.
Oh, what? I don't know how they're gonna long that out. I'd be interested to see where they finish. That'll be very interesting. See how they finish. But yeah, that's another episode done, guys. Thanks for joining us. Join us next week. We'll talk about more Tokyo Avengers and see can Takemichi's chin take any more. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.